such a cute little boutique in this like cute old New England downtown area, and it was really fun. They gave us each like a little slip of paper, and it had all the scents on it. So there was like, gosh, there had to have been at least 50 different scents, and you would go around and smell all the different fragrances, and then you would put check marks next to the fragrance that you liked, and then you could decide which one you wanted. You could also mix a few scents if you wanted to come up with like something special and different. And then they also had your vessel, so then you would go pick out which vessel you liked, and then they had us all sit around this like work table. It looked almost like if you've ever been out for a hibachi, it was like that kind of, where the person was in the middle with all this stuff, and then we sat around the outside, and they gave us a scale and a pipette, and like what else was in our equipment? We had these like metal pitchers that had the wax in it. So what you would do is you would pour. How did we do this? Let me think. We put the metal pitcher, the small metal pitcher, on the scale, and then we would pour the wax in up to however many grams or ounces they told us to, and then we used the pipette to add our fragrance, however much you wanted from each one, and then you stirred, and you had to stir for 2 full minutes. So that's something I learned. I never stirred my fragrance into my wax. Well, no, I did stir it, but I didn't stir it for an extended period of time. So I guess you're supposed to stir for 2 minutes, and then you can pour the little pitcher of wax into your vessel. Of course, you put the wick in first and whatnot. So anyway, that was like the whole experience. You're also supposed to let them set. They said you're supposed to let them set for 24 hours, and you're not supposed to burn them for a full week. So I went with grapefruit, just straight grapefruit. I didn't mix it with anything, just because when I was smelling them all, that was the one I was most drawn to, which isn't surprising because I love a fresh grapefruit scent in the spring and summer months. So I haven't lit my Calm Cozy candle. It was cute. We had to name them, and I didn't really know what to name mine. And a lot of these my Girl Scout troop is my daughter's friends, like they're best friends. And one of them said you should call it the Calm Cozy candle, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. So we will light that today. Making candles at a candle store like that is rather pricey, I would say. It is something that I probably could have hosted at my house for them for significantly less, but it could also get quite messy, I would imagine. And they have money in their like bank account, their troop account. So that was sort of like a special activity for us to do all together. It was fun. So we'll put that back there to enjoy together. Okay, so where do I begin with this week? My second born daughter went on her 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. That is not something that I did when I was in 8th grade. Our school went to Montreal was pretty crazy. They left, I drove her to school at 5 in the morning on Tuesday morning, and then they took 3 big, beautiful coach buses and drove all the way down. And they spent 4 days, 3 nights. Their itinerary was absolutely packed. It was like every 2 hours, this museum, this museum, this museum, this monument, this memorial, this everything. They did so much. They squeezed so much in. They had a dance. I think they were very busy. They had great weather. They went to the zoo. I think everything went well overall. I did talk to a couple of my friends who chaperoned, and they said, it wasn't like completely seamless because you have 150 14-year-olds, but no big issues, and overall it went well. They did fly back, so they drove down in the buses, and then those same buses were their tour buses while they were down there, and then they flew back. But they do that because then they get a full day on that Friday. But they ended up having like flight delays and whatnot, so she didn't get home until about 2 in the morning on Friday night. So it was, she's still catching up on her sleep. I have to say, right before she left, I started, like a couple days before, I started to get a little bit of anxiety, and my mind was like doomsdaying quite a bit, and I kept trying to like talk it out with my husband because I know that you don't not do things because you worry about bad things happening, because that's no way to live. But at the same time, I was just like, I don't know, I was just really struggling. And then when she was gone, it was like the very first day. I dropped off at 5 in the morning, and like normally she would be at school during the day, and I wouldn't, like, I don't think I like miss her every day she's at school. I mean, of course I miss her, but like not, like my heart hurt, my stomach hurt. It was so hard, her being away. And like, I didn't voice that to her because I didn't want her to feel bad or anything. I would write to her and text her and call her and just tell her I missed her and I love her. But I was so glad she was having so much fun. But man, I have like a physical reaction to my kids being away. My kids haven't spent an awful lot of time away from me. She is the only one of my kids who have ever done like an overnight camp. Other than that, the 3 out of the 4 of them have gone like to a sleepover for a night, but not really more than that. And one of them's never even done that. And when she went to summer camp the first year, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. I was sad, and I was not good. I had to keep telling my other kids, like, I'm so sorry. Just bear with me, but I have the sads because I miss your sister so much, and they can't take their phones, so I had no way to check in with her and be like, are you okay? Is everything good? And I knew she was having fun and totally fine. But then the second year that she went to summer camp, I was prepared, and I had my oldest daughter invite all of her friends up for the week, so I ended up with like 10 kids to keep me distracted. So that worked out better. And I think like knowing that she loved it so much the year before and wanted to go back helped too. But anyway, all that to say, my baby was gone and now she's home, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy it went well. I'm so happy she had fun. But I'm so glad she's back home. So that was this past week. And then my youngest daughter has been preparing very hard with all of her little friends for their special 4th grade play, which was The Little Mermaid. So this weekend they had their big performance. They had 3 performances. They did 1 on Friday night and then 2 on Saturday, and it was amazing. It was so good. They did such an amazing job. small school. There's 30 kids in her 4th grade total, so it's 2 classes of 15 kids. The 3rd graders weren't invited to join in as the chorus, so there was some extra like vocal power with that. But you know, it's a small group and they're not actors, and like when you see this performance, it's just amazing to see how talented some of them are. One of my daughter's best friends was up there, and I was like, holy cow, she needs to go to Broadway. She was amazing. And even the kids who aren't like natural born, you know, actors and actresses and singers, just like how brave they are to get up there and do that and put their best out there, and they did amazing. I watched all 3 shows. I was in charge of hair and makeup, so it was really fun to get to be backstage with them and get them ready, and I was in charge of doing some of like the heavy duty makeup. So like Ursula, I did her makeup and it came out so good. She looked amazing. We did her all purple with the big blue eyes, eyeshadow, and the big brows and her little mole. It came out so cool. And then King Triton, I got to do like gold. I did gold scales on his face and gave him glittery eyeshadow. He was so cute. He's like, do you think you can give me some eyelashes? And I was like, yeah, let's do mascara. And he was ready to like do the nines. And I was like, let's do it. So he was all glittered up and everything, and he's so cute. He loved it. But anyway, that was so fun. And this was my first like experience with any of my kids doing any type of theater. All 3 of my daughters did dance for like when they were very little, like 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. But it didn't really stick for them. It wasn't a passion. And none of my other kids. So in our school, elementary school, the 4th grade play is like a big deal, and you get to that's the top grade in that school. So our middle school is 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. So 4th graders are like the seniors. So this is like a big opportunity for them, and none of my other kids have ever done it. And they all have gone to see the show and see their friends perform and said, man, I really wish I had done that. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of time for them. It is a big commitment. But my last baby, she's in 4th grade, and she decided to do it. And I'm so glad she did, because it was such a good experience for her. And it was cool for me to see, like, I get it. I get the whole draw to the theater, the excitement and the energy behind it. Like, these kids were just, the energy that they had, especially when the show was over, like the excitement and the pride they had. It was so good to see. I was so proud of them. I cried every single performance. I'm just so impressed with them, so proud of all of them. So that was amazing and so fun to do this weekend. Let's see, this week my oldest daughter is also, this coming week, she's doing a pentathlon. I believe it is a pentathlon. I don't know. I think it's 8 events. I don't really know. I think it's called the pentathlon, but she's in training for that. So like her regular track season is over, but she was invited to participate in this pentathlon. So she's training for that, and so she was practicing every day and learning a lot of new events. So that was fun for her. But she had a lot of long days with practice. I'm just trying to think of what else happened this week before I tackle the weekend. So, let's see. I think that's about it for the week. I started a new book. I started She's Not Lying by Mary Kubik. Do I have it right here? No, I think it's downstairs. I have it downstairs. I started that book. I actually already finished it. So I think I started it maybe last weekend. And it was a quick read. Gave me a little bit of whiplash by the end there. I'll do like a full book review. I only read 2 books this past month, 2.5. I started that one in May. I finished it, early June. So I may just do a short book review with those 3 books. But it was good. It again, like I said, my youngest daughter had her play. So Friday night, we had her very first performance. My mom came down from Maine to watch her show on Friday night. We had a full row with like family and friends to watch her perform. And then in the morning, Saturday morning, we had my kids' piano recital. So this year, only 3 of my 4 kids did piano. Usually all 4 of them take piano lessons. But one of them, we just could not get her schedule to work. So she had the year off, which she enjoyed. I would say that my kids, generally speaking, I wouldn't say any of them have a love or a passion for piano or playing an instrument, but it is something that when I had kids, I decided that I knew sports was likely to be a big part of their lives, because that is just like the culture of where we live, and it is, generally speaking, for 3 of my 4, it's like a big part of their lives. But I think that music and learning to play an instrument and having that skill I feel like it works and practices a part of your brain that otherwise wouldn't be exercised. And it's something that I think children, all people, humans, benefit from. It is something that I learned to play an instrument when I was in middle school, and I am not musically inclined. I find it really challenging, and I don't have an ear for music. I also tried to play guitar a couple years ago. I took guitar lessons, and it is so hard. It is so hard for me. So I look at piano as a gift to my children, even when they're complaining about it. I say, this is my gift to you. It is not an easy thing to do. It is not easy. It is expensive. It is hard for me to drive them back and forth to lessons. But I try to tell them, someday I think you'll say thanks, Mom, for making us do this. And now my oldest daughter, she is, she's going into 11th grade, and she chooses to do it because her schedule is so packed that I've said to her, is this something that you need to step away from because it's hard to fit it in? And she said, Mom, I don't want to stop doing it now. I've played for this long. And she also feels like, she said, I do a lot of athletics, and I feel like I need to be more well-rounded. I should have something like music as well. And I'm like, she's so sound. She has such a good mind. So she's choosing to do it. My son is probably the most musically inclined. However, it's interesting. I don't know if it's because he has an ear for music, or if it's just because he has a mind for, he has a very, he's really good at coming up with, what is the word I'm looking for here? Patterns and, algorithms and, techniques, like the Rubik's Cube, for example. He learned how to do that because he learned a technique, and then he learned another kind of technique and another kind of technique, and it's all a mental puzzle sort of. And so even when he plays the piano, he immediately memorizes his songs. So he doesn't he plays without looking at his music. He can read music, but he doesn't when he's playing. It's interesting. So, but he is I think it comes to him the most naturally of all of my kids. All that to say, they had their piano recital. They had their piano recital at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and it was great. I love their piano recitals. It makes me so proud of them to have to be on stage. It is very small group. So anyway, I think that was our whole weekend. I ended up coming home from the party, maybe around like 8:30 or so, and I ended up bringing my youngest niece home with me, and she said at a sleepover with my daughter, my youngest daughter. They're close to the sea beach, so they had a sleepover. I got home and they were, of course we were at a party and there was tons of food, but we got home and they were all hungry. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll throw some pizza in for you guys. But I didn't really want pizza, and so I was like, I texted my friend who lives next door, and I'm like, what are you having for dinner? And she made like this pesto chicken. It was cute. The girls went over to chat with her, and they came back, and I asked them, I said, what is Mom making for dinner? And she's like, pastel chicken. She kept saying pastel chicken, and I'm like, what's that? Is that like rainbow pasta? Like, I couldn't figure it out. But it was pesto chicken. So anyway, I ended up going over and having dinner with her and her family. And then came home and went to bed. And then today we have a quiet morning, quiet day. Oh, yesterday was also my wedding anniversary. So it was my husband and my wedding anniversary. Obviously, we were already fully booked with all kinds of things, but he very sweetly made a dinner reservation for us for tonight. So that's why I'm filming this in the morning today, because he and I are going on a little anniversary date tonight. We have been married for 17 years, and we have been in love for 21. And I'm still very, very happily married to him. So I'm excited to celebrate tonight a little bit with him. Let's see here. I have back here, I brought up some peonies from my yard because my white ones bloomed this past week, and then just this morning I noticed that the pink ones bloomed, and these are my favorite. They actually remind me of my wedding bouquet. I had pink and white peonies and roses and some other things. But I mean, could these be more gorgeous? Look at that. Picked right from my yard. I love them so much. I mean, look at this one here. Is that not the most, like, beautiful? And they smell so good. There are little ants in there, I just noticed. So I brought in the beautiful flowers, and I brought in some ants too. It's okay, they're worth it. It's worth it. So let's go ahead and put that back up there. The number of vases of peonies I have in my house right now, I'm like determined to take full advantage of peony season. I have them like in my living room, in my kitchen, in my dining room, on the little sitting tables, like in the bathrooms. I have them everywhere because I just love them so much. So the only problem is when after they're fully bloomed, they start to just shed their petals, and they kind of just like plump and lose all their petals. But it's okay. I just take out that one and replace it with like a new bud or something. So those are my beautiful peonies from the yard. The other thing I wanted to share with you this week, I mentioned it last week and I forgot to bring it up. But this is the cookbook that I was telling you about last week. This is Cook Once, Eat All Week by Cassie Joy Garcia. And I've had this book for quite a few years, I want to say 4 or 5 years maybe. And it's set up really neat. So this is like the table of contents, and what you do is you pick out, like, let's say let's do an easy one. So this one here, week 5, has chicken breast, tomatoes, and rice. So those are like the big main ingredients. So for this, you would preheat your oven, toss the noodles, layer with chicken, and then you would toss together the toppings and the cheese, so it tells you exactly what to do. And then on the third day, you could make a Cajun chicken and rice skillet using those same 3 main ingredients. So I just think that this is like, I like that it like breaks it down. Each recipe is simple. So I didn't really use it quite like that. What I would do is, for example, one of my favorite recipes from this book. You can see how well loved this page is. But it is these Southwestern stuffed sweet potatoes. So for this week, the ingredients were it was like a pork shoulder, Brussels sprouts, and sweet potatoes. And the 3 meals that you can make included, but like there's also bell peppers and whatnot, but smashed sweet potatoes, pork bowls, and there's like sauces that you could put on it. A harvest sheet pan dinner. And then these sweet potatoes. So what you do is like you bake the sweet potatoes, you scoop out the inside, and then you mix it with a pulled pork, corn, spices, bell peppers, onions. Then you scoop it back in and top it with cheese. They are so good. So delicious. There's lime juice in there. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So there's just quite a few recipes in here that I have made over the years, and I just think they're like healthy, simple ingredients. And it's a cookbook I really like. And if you like work out of the home or work from home and you like to meal prep, it's just like a nice take on meal prep too. So you could use it the way she intended, which I think I've tried a couple times, but I like cooking dinner, and I'm home to cook dinner usually, so I just use it more for like inspiration for like, okay, what do I have? And like sometimes I'll just go to that first page, the table of contents, and I'll be like, what of these 3 ingredients do I have? And then from there I can go look at the 3 recipes and be like, what other parts of it do I have? And it helps me narrow down what to make. So when I'm in a meal rut, I mentioned last week that I'm in a meal rut, I'll pull this out and it helps me to just sort of get inspired and come up with something new and different to make. I do believe she gives like options for like paleo, dairy free, like different diet restrictions. We don't have any diet restrictions in our home. I try to, make sure we eat healthy and vegetables, but generally speaking, but we don't have any like allergies or we don't follow any special diets. So I wanted to make sure I showed you that since I mentioned it last week. Okay, so I think that's about it for my weekly recap. Tell me a little bit about what you did this week and weekend. Quite a few people wrote to me last week and said, yep, I'm in the chaos. And they feel it. Even people without kids are like, still it's crunch time. Something about this season of life is just crunch time. Or this season of the year, excuse me. It is crunch time. So I'm glad to know we're not alone here, that we're all feeling it. I hope you're all feeling the light at the end of the tunnel as well. I know that I am. We have just over a week of school left. And we are all very excited for summer. saw some friends and family that I don't see very often, and they were like, "Oh, I love seeing the kids on your posts and whatnot," and it made me feel kind of bad because about, I don't know, a month ago I was like, I'm just gonna remove Facebook and Instagram from my phone, and I'll just use it on my computer to like catch up here and there. And I kind of haven't. I haven't really been very good about going on my computer and searching, I don't know, just like catching up with people or whatever. I haven't missed it. And I did, like, this past week, I did have some moments where I was like, oh man, I should like share all the good things, like the play and the recital, and my daughter did so well in her track meet. She got a medal at states. Just like so many good things have been happening, and I'm proud of them, and I like, part of me wants to like share that, because again, like, I use Facebook and Instagram mostly just to keep up to date with my friends and people I know. So I did feel kind of bad because I was like, oh, I haven't shared any of that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, like, how necessary is that? You know what I mean? I don't know. So anyway, I am Facebook friends with a lot of people from like high school and college and stuff that I may not have ever even necessarily been close friends with them back then. We just like went to school together. So it's not to say that I wouldn't enjoy spending time with them. I can probably enjoy spending time with just about anyone. But like, I don't think I would like search out to hang out with them. Maybe. I do have, like, I have muted and or unfriended people if I find that their posts are like overly like doomsday or complainy or whatever. Like, I don't know, like there's certain things that if I find myself just consistently being like annoyed, I'll just remove them because I don't need to be annoyed by them, you know what I mean? I'm choosing to have them be on my Facebook page, so I guess those people, maybe I'm not friends with them on Facebook anymore, so maybe I would enjoy spending time with everybody I'm friends with. I don't know. The next question is, would you be willing to work hard to learn a foreign language if it would double your salary? Well, I don't have a salary, so doubling that would be $0. However, if I did have a salary, yes, I would totally do that because I think it would be such a gift and a great opportunity to learn another language. Although some of them I think would be incredibly daunting to learn, so it depends on the language. But if it doubled my salary, probably I think I would want to do that. What about you? Do you think that if somebody said to you, you have to learn this second language, but it will double your salary, I can't imagine anybody would do that, right? Isn't that also like, wouldn't that just be part of your job then? So, I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that. Okay, the last question is, have you ever committed or come close to committing a crime? So, I had a fake ID when I was in college. I think that's a crime. I actually got caught and got in trouble too. So I think that's the only crime I've ever committed. I mean, I think like I've sped, like I've speeded before, and I've like looked at my phone when I'm driving, and you're not supposed to do that. I don't know, is that considered a crime? So I think those are my big crimes. I'm trying to think if there's any, like, have I ever come close to committing a crime? Not intentionally, not that I can think of. Okay. The next question is, what is the biggest difference between your parents? Okay, so my parents, I would say my mom, it's funny when people meet them, like when people know my mom and then they meet my dad, they're like, huh, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that from as your dad. But to me they make sense. she's also very like structured in her ways and her time. My dad is, I think if you picture like the quintessential Maine, middle-aged Maine man, not Maine man like Maine squeeze, like man from the state of Maine, that's my dad. Like we're talking jeans, button-down flannel shirt, work boots, a little bit of a belly. That is his aesthetic, and it has been for his entire, as long as I've known him. That is like, he wears the same thing every day. In the summer, he might wear shorts with a t-shirt, and then his flannel unbuttoned over it. He will still wear his like socks pulled up with his boots on the boat. So that's my dad. Personality-wise, my mom is, again, pretty not reserved or anything. She's very social and chatty and can talk to anyone. My dad tends to be louder. He's fun. He's funny. He's always trying to make people laugh and smile. He's really silly. Really silly. I could tell you some stories about my dad. Some of the weird things he's done. I don't know if I've shared all of them. I've some of them on here before, but like, let me just to paint the picture of my dad. One time he came up to me. I think I was in high school, maybe. He came up to me and he looks at me and he goes, "Moth." Like he goes, "Moth." and a moth flew out of his mouth. So weird. So he just put a live moth, like a white moth, in his mouth and kept it in there. And he came up to me and said, "Moth." And flew out. Like, so weird, but like funny. So like that. What other things has he done? He's done some like such strange things. He was, I think I mentioned this before, I'm not sure if I did, but like he would, I grew up in Portland, which is like in the city, and my house was on the water, and there were lots of squirrels for whatever reason. There was like a lot of squirrels, and they were bothering him. It bothered him that there were so many squirrels. I don't know if they were making like nests somewhere. I have no idea. But he got in his head that he needed to get rid of the squirrels, and so he's trapping the squirrels in like the half-heart traps. And then he would bring them to the woods and release them. And he was keeping track of how many squirrels there were. And then eventually he was like, he's like, this is impossible. Like there was over 100 squirrels or something. Like it was a ridiculous number of squirrels. So he started putting a little orange paint on their tails to see if they were like coming back. So again, like, I don't know, that just feels like such a mean old guy thing to do. Like, I don't understand why the squirrels bothered him so much. We live in the country. My husband and I live in the country. And not in the city, like Portland's a city. And we have so many critters and squirrels. It doesn't bother us at all. I'm sure we have more here than we had there. I don't know. But just like little quirks and things like that. I have so many stories about my dad. He was also like, he has such a good heart, and he's so giving. Like he actually, he still like works every day, but he works in a volunteer capacity, hard for like the VFW, for the Little League program, for everything he does. He doesn't get paid for, but he's just constantly working. He also has, like if I say to him, "Dad, I need actually last summer, for example, I needed a dryer. My dryer broke." And I was like, well, in our main cabin, the dryer broke, and I was like, "I need a dryer. Could you keep an eye out for one for me? I'll just buy like a used one or something." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a dryer. I'm like, went and got a dryer from wherever he keeps his dryers and like brought it home for me and installed it. Like he's just so much. Since I started a YouTube channel, I have never looked at myself so much. I don't think I had a single selfie picture of just me by myself on my phone before I started this, and now it's like I have to take cover pictures for videos, and so now like I have so many pictures of just me, and I'm certainly like a little more critical of myself because I'm seeing myself so much more. But and also like we're fed, we're sold so much like makeup and procedures and like this next best thing and this next procedure, this next like, thing that you can try, this next makeup, this next spot, whatever. I don't know. You're just like fed all this stuff that you're like, oh, I never noticed that I have, you know, I don't know, like a thin lips. So they're saying if I buy this lip gloss, I won't have thin lips anymore. But like your lips maybe didn't bother you before, but then you saw that lip gloss and you're like, oh, maybe I need that. I really notice it with my kids. My youngest daughter especially, and I think that's because she has older daughters, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. So like my other girls, when they were 10, like 8, 9, 10, they didn't brush their hair regularly until they were probably in 6th grade. Like they were a mess. They didn't care what they wore. They didn't care about their clothes. They definitely didn't wear makeup. Like truly, I was like, I got to the point where I was like, are you guys ever gonna like want to just like bathe and brush your hair? Because I felt like they were in middle school at that point, and I was like, you're gonna have to start caring soon, I think. And they did. Around 7th grade probably, they started, you know, taking better care of themselves and maybe like putting on a little lip gloss or blush or whatever, which they didn't have to do that or anything, and they actually don't wear much makeup at all, but just like making sure they look nice. They got into fashion a little bit more. But my youngest daughter, I mean, she's only in 4th grade, and I noticed it just last year, her like wanting to have her hair look a certain way. And I mean, again, she's a different kid, so it could just be that she's a different kid and her group of friends are all into this too, but they're into the whole like skincare and makeup and whatever. And I know a lot of that is just like currently that's sort of like the trend for little tweens, and honestly like it could be so much worse, like for them to be obsessed with washing their face and putting on moisturizers and things like that. Like it could certainly be worse. That's what I've always said, like I'm happy to indulge that silliness because it doesn't really matter, you know. But I definitely think she's more aware of her, like the way she looks than her at this age than her older sisters did at that age, which kind of makes me sad. But at the same time, I guess such is life when you're the youngest girl and you have big sisters who are, you know, in high school, and you think they're cool and you want to be like them and their friends. And so I definitely do think that we pay a lot of attention to our appearance. I probably should pay more attention to mine, but I don't really like do much outside of momming and YouTubing. I mean, I do a lot of things, but I mean, I'm not going to work where I need to like see people. I do think it's important to take care of your appearance because that you want to appear clean and well kept and stuff, because, you know, I think first impressions matter and second impressions and whatever. But at the same time, like, actually, like, I love summer. You'll probably see a marked difference in the way I come to you in the summer, because like right now I like will curl my hair a little bit. In the summer, never ever. Usually I have a hat on. I barely wear any makeup. I usually put on sunscreen. If I'm like going somewhere, maybe blush. I don't know, probably not. But like no makeup all summer, to the point where when I put makeup on, like if we were to go out somewhere or like come fall, when I put makeup back on, it feels so weird and I feel so like overdone because I get so used to just like my naked face. But what do you think? Do you think people pay too much attention to their appearance? You know, like they did say these days. I mean, I look back though and I think about like the 80s. I mean, I was a baby. I was a little So I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that. Okay. The last question on this card, and the last question that we'll do today is it better to grow up in a large family or a small family? So I think that what is a large family and what is a small family? I think that we all have a different perspective on what that means. Like to me, where I live in the Northeast, we are a family of 6, and that would be considered a large family. However, if you're from Utah or something, and you live in a place where people generally have 6 kids, 8 kids, 10 kids, I don't know, like that's a large family. To me, I would say a small family is like maybe 2 or less kids, and a large family is, I guess, 4 or more kids. I guess if you have 3 kids, you're just in the middle. I don't really know. This also could mean though, like extended family, like grow up in a large family. Like I grew up with just my family of 5 in like the town that we lived. I had aunts and uncles that lived like an hour away, and cousins an hour away. Some more that lived like a couple hours away, but I just had like one aunt and uncle on each side. Whereas like my husband, he grew up in the town that he lives in. To put it into perspective, my oldest daughter was his grandfather's 33rd great grandchild, and they pretty much all lived in this town and or the surrounding towns. He had 6 aunts and uncles on his dad's side, and then he had 4 aunts and uncles. Yeah, 4 aunts and uncles on his mom's side. So, and again, they all live locally. Everybody lives around us. My kids have cousins, second cousins in their class, in their classes at school. My husband still hangs out daily with his extended family. And to be honest, I love it. I think it is such a gift to have so much family close by. As far as like your immediate family, I think a big family is fun, and that's what I wanted for us. I wanted to have at least 4 kids, and I talked my husband into 4. 3 in a surprise. Kind of, it was a pretend surprise. But I don't think I could have, he wouldn't be budged on more than that, so I wanted a big family. He was happy to oblige. At least 3, and I think after we hit the 3rd, he was like, whatever, what's one more? And then, just because I think it's fun. I love kids. I love being around them. I love the idea of them growing up and having kids and getting to be part of my grandkids' lives. I know it's weird to talk about like grandkids, but I still am like my big girls, they had these beautiful, cute pink beds, and when they outgrew them, I was like, I'm gonna put these in the basement and save them for my grandkids. And I do. I save things like that. I save special books that I read them, certain toys, like I save them for our grandkids someday. Should we be so blessed to have grandkids and be here to be with them? I do also see the appeal of having a small family, of having just like having one child or it's better to grow up in a large family or a small. Oh, this is talking about growing up. I think it's really fun to grow up in a big family. I'll have to ask my kids what they think. If they think it's, I think most of them love it. I think my son would have been happy being an only child. But he's not nearly as social as my daughters. So anyway, that is our last question for today. I would love to hear a little bit about your week and your weekend. Or maybe something that you are looking forward to this week. What's something that you are excited about this week or in the coming weeks? Or something that it's like consuming your mind maybe. Is there something like weighing on you that you sort of have like lingering? Are you anything like lingering on your mind that's coming up? I didn't mention it here prior to the DC trip, but that trip was weighing heavily on my mind and bringing me a lot of anxiety. Now that it's over, I'm okay to admit that. I started admitting it when it came. I had to my husband because I was just like, I was kind of a wreck. But it really weighed on my heart. It's funny, I have, when I'm dealing with things like that, it also affects like my stomach. It's like I feel sick, I can't eat. Stress does that to me. Worry, sadness causes me to like have like nausea, kind of. Anyway, so if there's something weighing on your mind,